So one of the most important things we can utilise for cooking for health and lean mass is Tupperware. It's a bit 1980s, I know, but these things will be your saviour. Now, why are they so important? Because we all eat for convenience. No matter who we are, no matter what you do, we all strive for convenience. So you've probably been to the fridge and you've opened it up and you looked in it and you thought, what is there to eat? We see people do it all the time, and they look through the fridge, there's nothing I really fancy, and then they go to a cupboard to do the same thing. What you're actually doing there, you're scanning, and you're scanning for something that is kind of tasty and convenient, and mainly convenient, because there's loads of things that are in those two places that are tasty, right? Because you've got all kinds of raw ingredients. So the fact of the matter is, you could spend half an hour to an hour cooking up like a really awesome meal that's also really healthy, and most of the time your brain isn't computing that. It's just looking in there and going, what can I have quick? Because you may have waited too long, you want something to eat now, or you're in a rush, you've got stuff to do, so you haven't got half an hour, or you're just being lazy, because we all get lazy and you just can't be bothered to cook. So the benefit of Tupperware is that you get a load of these little things, they're dead cheap. I'll put a link down below for some decent quality ones that don't break after about 2 uses, and you make your stuff in batches like we've just done. And if you're not a member, be a member, and then you can have a look at the batch cooking as well. And you make a big batch, so we cooked up like 500 grams of lean protein there, put our own flavouring in it, and then we're going to divvy it out into these boxes. That way, when you open the fridge up, you've got 6 of these staring at you. And the easiest thing in the world is going to be to drag one of these out, and you might heat that up and have it with a bit of rice if that's what's in your diet. Or like we're going to do, we're going to mix this with a bit of chopped up salad leaves, a bit of kimchi or sauerkraut, and a bit of pickled beetroot, or a bit of pickled gherkin, whatever you want to do to add a bit of taste to it. Put on a bit of olive oil, a bit of apple cider vinegar. I always get this stuff. You can get it from like Aldi and Lidl if you're in the UK, and it's super cheap compared to the Tesco's variety version. It's the organic apple cider vinegar, really good. It's got loads and loads of nutrients in it, so I'm not going to rattle on about, it burns fat and it's got all these amazing health benefits. It's packed full of nutrients, so it's definitely good for you. And then all you've got to do is mix that around with what you got in your tub, and you've got a meal that's ready in like 3 minutes, and it's the healthy meal that you should get. The same thing when you go to work. Take these things with you. I take 2 of these when I go to work for the day, so I can have 2 meals at work. I take them with like an apple, so I can have that for a bit of a sweetener afterwards. But that way, the amount of times I see people at work, they go to work, they don't take anything with them at all because they're in a rush in the morning, there's nothing convenient to grab out the fridge, so they just go straight to work, and they think, oh, I'll worry about lunch at lunchtime. So what do they do at lunchtime? Well, if there's a canteen, they go to the canteen. What have the canteen got? Chips and rubbish, so that's what they buy. Or more than likely, they haven't got a canteen, so they go to the local shop. And what do you get at the local shop? Well, you do exactly the same as we've just described people do at the fridge. You look in the fridges at the local shop, you scan through them. You're not going to buy some raw pasta and some, a load of raw ingredients and take them back to work and cook them, are you? You're going to buy probably a sandwich, probably a meal deal, because those shops have worked out, hey, there's money to be made here. We can offer them like a £3.50 meal deal, and then they're going to buy a sandwich, a bar of chocolate, a packet of crisps, whatever it is. And they purposely make the fruit sizes like tiny and ridiculous, so there's no point in buying them on a meal deal. You might as well get all the unhealthy stuff, and then you walk out the shop with a can of pop, a sandwich, a bar of chocolate or whatever, and that's your lunch. And that's your lunch for the whole day. So that's dreadful, because not only is that rubbish food, it's got hardly any nutrition in it, it's going to shoot your insulin levels up through the roof, it's full of fat, it's full of salt. Then you're going to get home in the evening, you're going to be starving for nutrition, even though you've had quite a lot of calories at lunchtime. They're not bulky calories, they're not nutritious calories, they're pretty empty. So you're going to be starving hungry, your sugar levels are going to drop right off in the afternoon. You're going to start feeling tired about 3 or 4 o'clock. By the time you get home, you think, I'm starving hungry. You're not. You're actually low on sugar levels, because you've had this super spike at lunchtime. So instead of having what would be useful at that point, which would be some complex carbohydrates that take a long time to break down in the body and would stabilise that sugar level a little bit, you're going to end up having something rubbish again, because you're going to open up the fridge and go, I'm really hungry, I need to, you know, replenish my sugar levels, and you're just going to take whatever's there, and what's there is going to be some junk that's easy to do. So you're going to make another sandwich, you're going to grab some pizza or whatever it is, whack something in the oven for 20 minutes, you know, a ready meal or whatever, eat that, and you'll be back to that square one, which is you just shot your insulin levels through the roof, and by the time you go to bed, you know, that's sort of starting to happen again. You're feeling really tired, you're going to go to sleep, then you're going to wake up in the morning and repeat the whole process, because the mistake most people make for breakfast is they haven't thought about breakfast. So again, what do I have for breakfast? Oh, I can't be bothered to cook anything, can't be bothered to make anything. So where do we go from there? I'll have a cup of coffee and then I'll worry about eating lunch. And then they don't eat anything till lunchtime. And they think, oh, I'm not eating much, so I'm not going to put fat on. You will put fat on because you're eating a ton of junk.